What's good, family? It's your girl Wisdom, and we are back with another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the last one because this one is a special treat, and I'm super excited about this episode. On this episode, we will be discussing about respecting your boundaries as an artist. So this conversation came about when I was on TikTok Live and we were just talking about what does respecting boundaries look like. And I had like a small tidbit of what boundaries look like to me when it came to my art practice. But I felt since I've been wanting to do a video about this was the perfect time to do it. That way y'all can get it from my experience and then try to apply whatever tips and advice that I give. You can apply it to your own process as an artist. So let's just get right into it, okay? So a few things that I want you guys to take away with from this video is number one, if you don't know what your boundaries are, it is really important for you to figure out what they are. So for me, my big three is number one, communication, just having that transparency and being able to have that open dialogue with people, right? And then number two, just having access to information. I love information because information provides preparation. It allows me to be prepared in the best way that I can be. I don't need to know the ins and outs of, how y'all set up everything, but just know what can I expect as an artist when I'm either prepping for an art event or where in your home is this art piece going to, right? And then my third one is not being rushed or pressured into responding and not being rushed or pressured into creating my art in general. If I don't feel comfortable or safe to just freely create and express myself, whether this is within a commission or whether this is in how I hang up or present artwork into a space and they're trying to change up or rush me to fix something or and now there are certain times where certain things call for certain things. You use your discernment and you be the judge of that. Because let's say if you got a due date for something and you've been slacking off, get that shit done because you have a commitment to yourself and you're going to uphold that commitment, right? But I'm just saying, if somebody is pressuring you, oh, I need to get this done in a month and it's a 48 by 48 and I need all these details. Okay, well, you're going to pay. You're going to pay for all these details. Right? Or you could simply just say, how about 3 to 4 months instead of 1 month? Because now I can explain to this client how much this is going to take. Right? So those are things that that you just have to figure out for yourself. What do your boundaries look like and how can you best advocate for yourself when it comes to these situations? And I would definitely say, because y'all know I love journaling, it is really important that you journal about these things or you put this in like a Google Doc somewhere. That way, when you're having a conversation with a client, I do this. When you're having a conversation with a client, you don't forget nothing. Right? You can have it all there or you can put it in your notes and you can have somewhere where you can refer back to make sure, okay, am I respecting myself before I say yes? And that is something that is also very important. Making sure that your no's, that your no's are your no's and your yeses are your yeses. You are not missing out on anything if you say no to something, because saying no to something right now means a yes for something that is more in alignment with you for later on. Whether later on is in the next 2 hours or 2 minutes or 2 years, it does not matter. But it's the simple fact that you respected yourself in that process and making sure that no matter what, I am advocating for me in the best interest of me and what works best for me when it comes to communicating with people and how I create the space that I want to create for myself. Another takeaway will also be respecting your creative process, respecting your creative flow. Y'all know how many times I talk about this, where allowing yourself to flow in the way that you flow, and also just taking note of this. That way, when somebody is asking for something, they're trying to commission something from you and they ask you how long it takes, because you are aware of how your process is, whether it's with a small painting or big painting, or maybe you have seasonal depression, or maybe you got an event coming up and you still want to do this commission for somebody, but you got to let them know. Be open and honest and as transparent as possible, okay, about what it is that you are doing, and just communicating that, but also to making sure you are respecting your own flow and how you work, and you just got to figure it out. For somebody, it may take them 3 months to do a piece. Another person, it may take them 2 weeks. And that's just because that's just how they flow. It does not matter. And do not allow society to keep pressuring you into believing that you have to keep working like you work in a factory. Y'all remember Goofy? When he was working in that factory and all the stuff started going crazy everywhere because he couldn't keep up, you know. When you're not in flow, that's when disaster starts. I'm just saying. So there's that. Another portion of just respecting your own creative process and respecting your artwork and what you do and what you create is also respecting your prices. Your price is your price. And if somebody cannot respect what your price is and where you set it at and the time that it takes to complete a work, just go on to the next. Go on to the next. It's okay. Your price is your price. And you don't need to change that for nobody. Because it is your work. It is the energy. It's the time. And whatever other frequencies you are deciding to create your work from. And then also make sure that you are not being priced out when it comes to your products or your services. So like, and I don't know if I'm even using priced out correctly. But what I mean by this is basically making sure you are not going below what you know you are worthy to receive when it comes to your prices, okay? How I like to put this is, and I think I might just make a video about pricing your artwork, because this is still something that I am like learning through, because the more I grow, the higher my prices go, and I always have to figure this out. So if you are an artist right now and this is something that you have a concern about, it's always going to be there, and you're just going to have to figure it out and what works best for you. So when it comes to like pricings and stuff like that for your services or your products, for me, I always think about, okay, what's a number that'll get me excited? No matter what details is on this art piece, no matter what they tell me to do, and price ranges work for me best, because you never know what it is that somebody might commission, but you do know, okay, if it's this size, I don't want to charge no more than this, but I'm definitely not charging this. And ranges help me. So if that is something that you are interested in, that would be something I would definitely be thinking about. And just be realistic with those ranges and your prices, but also making sure that, you know, you are not only just you are not making somebody just pay for the physical or service itself, but it's about your time, it is about your energy, it is about the supplies that you use, how long it takes, all of that. All of that is accommodated into your prices. So do not settle, do not set yourself short, okay? As long as you respect your price, as long as you respect your flow, as long as you respect how your artwork is formed and how it is created and what's the end result of your artwork, as long as you respect that, you're gonna be fine. And you tell people how to respect that, you're gonna be all right. Which moves into our next segment. If you do not respect your own boundaries, nobody else will, okay? You can't tell or control people to do anything, right? Because at the end of the day, we are on this physical plane and we all have free will, right? But if people want to be in your space and people want to be a part of your journey, you can teach them how to respect your energy, your time, your art, whatever the case may be, right? And this could be applied in all areas in your life, with relationships, with curators, with galleries. It can all be taught in different areas. So you have to owe it to yourself in order to tell people like, hey, I don't like this. I don't like the way you said this, or I don't do this, but I can do this. Or could you please stop asking, because you asking is making me uncomfortable. Those are ways in which you can communicate that and teach people in ways just to respect who you are, or even just your process. I've ran into this a few times, and I'll definitely say this is not something that's like a one and done thing, because we are growing, we are forever growing as people, as artists, and people are going to find ways in which they can have a leeway into your space that works best for them, right? But I've had situations like this, even with just TikTok live, and this is no shade to anybody, but it's just more so, you know, people have an expectation of you that they form in their own mind, whether they are aware of this or not. And usually this is just because people enjoy your energy, or they maybe enjoy your art, and they have this expectation, or they're patiently, well, not even patiently, but they're just like so giddy and ready and excited to be a part of whatever it is that you are going to put out to the world. And I had an issue where people would always like text me and be like, "Are you going live? Are you going live today? Can you please go live?" And da-da-da-da. And I didn't want people to start codepending on my energy in order for them to be functioning all day. And I get it. We live in a day and age where depression exists, mental health exists, where a lot of people are unhappy in the positions that they are in their life, whether this is energetically or this is systematically. And I get it. We a lot of the times we love to see like a good funny video after a hard day. But at the end of the day, if you are a supporter of somebody and you appreciate their work and whatever it is that they do, just make sure that you respect their process. Okay. And if they tell you, "Hey, be patient," or "Hey, thank you so much, I'll be back soon," just respect that, because they gonna come back. Okay. And this is something that I've had to do. And honestly, it has built my confidence. And number one, because I used to be a people pleaser, it has built my confidence so much in just respecting who I am and my process, especially when I'm going through things. You never know what somebody else is going through, even behind the camera. But yes, it's built so much confidence within myself and me just respecting me, but also making sure that I'm continuing to build a community and I'm continuing to build a space that I feel safe in, you know, because a lot of times, shout out to the car. A lot of times we are in spaces, or even, you know, celebrities now, quote unquote celebrities, right? Or even influencers. They get into all of this fame, this fortune, this limelight, and they don't realize that, oh shoot, like the space that I built was not off a foundation of people actually respecting my boundaries. And that was like a big thing for me coming into the internet world. And I will also say this was a reason why I stayed away from it for so long, because number one, I didn't know what my boundaries were and I had to figure that out, and I needed time for that. And number two, I didn't just want to jump right into it and not know, like, okay, how do I want to feel safe in the space that I create, right? It's one thing for me to feel safe, but now that I'm inviting people by posting my work or even showing up on TikTok, how can I teach other people to show up in my space that allows me to continue to be safe? As artists, we naturally build a safe haven around our art space. So just make sure that whatever spaces that you create, make sure you continue to implement what the foundation of that space is. That way people are aware of the type of vibe and the type of energy that you present, right? But also make sure that you uphold yourself to communicate it and uphold yourself to continue expressing what that energy looks like for you. And if you ever need time where you need to step away from something, or you need to be like, "Hey, I need to respond later. Thank you for your interest. Give me some time. Let me check my schedule." Do not ever feel like you need to infiltrate on your own boundaries. And if you ever feel like that, those are key indicators that you are swaying from yourself. And just to keep that in mind, no matter what type of space that you create, when it comes to just being an artist in general. I love how these are just all just tying together in the perfect way, because this leads us into our next takeaway, which is do not be afraid to advocate for yourself and do not be afraid to be accommodated. So if you need something, tell people what are your needs and your desires. Whether this is you talking to a gallery, whether this is you talking to an internship or fellowship, or this is you talking to a residency, right? Or this is you talking to somebody that is curating an art show, a market, whatever. Like if you in there and you need some nails to put up your artwork and you ran out of nails or something, or you forgot your nails at home, ask and tell them how many you need. If somebody asks you if you need help, say yes, okay? We can all use help sometimes, all right? But do not be afraid to advocate for yourself, especially if you're coming from a pure place. And do not be afraid for other people to advocate for you. That is another thing that I had to learn coming into the content space, the influencer era, right? Is like, even like going live and I build a safe space. And, you know, once every blue moon, I get like those people that are like the bots, or some people come in and they just say something negative, right? Even sometimes when I'm not looking and I'm vibing and I'm painting, somebody could come in and then one of my moderators are advocating for me. Like, you can leave with that negativity. Goodbye. You know what I mean? And don't even be afraid of, like, if you see a comment that you don't like, that you don't agree with, you do not have to respond. Number one. And number two, you could delete it. You could turn off the comments. You don't have to look at things. Okay? Do not do what society tells you you should be doing, or what you should be paying attention to. Okay? You don't have to do it. Advocate for yourself. Tell people what your needs are and write down your needs. That way you don't never forget them, especially when you're having a conversation and you may be dealing with somebody that might be trying to sway you to go to the left or go to the right. Okay? Have your needs and desires ready to go. All right. That way, when somebody asks you and they ready to present you with that money of how much time do you need for this project, and you just be like 5 months, and you know it can take you 3 months, but you know you can 5 months just in case, right? And they gonna pay you regardless. So as we are talking about accommodation, right? When it comes to galleries, gallery spaces, do not also be afraid of being accommodated. So whether this is for your stay, whether this is for your travel, whether this is for your artwork being shipped and handled, right? And having insurance, do not be afraid to tell them what you need to be accommodated for, especially if they are reaching out to you for your work, or if you are reaching out to them. Right? Let's say you won something when it came to an art show, and then they decide like, oh, we're not paying for this. And you just like, well, why not? Even if it's through grants, because people can accommodate you through grants. They can accommodate you somehow. And you just got to figure out what is that balance between you and that gallery. And y'all can figure that out, and you just know what is best for you. So another thing I want to talk about too is there is a difference between setting boundaries and actually placing limits on yourself. Okay? And what I mean by that is, like, if somebody reaches out to you with an opportunity, and it's an opportunity that you think you're not ready for, but the universe is telling you that you're ready for, take it. It may scare you, but you may find out something new about yourself. Okay? So there's a difference between setting limits on ourselves. Oh, I can't do this because I feel like I'm not ready for it. No, you're not. You're ready. You got it. Go for it. Do it right now. That thing you want to go create that you haven't created before, go do it right now. Go practice it. That way, because you're practicing it, then somebody reaches out to you to commission you for it, you're going to be ready. You're going to be prepared, and you're going to be all right. And even if you don't get that experience, take it anyway. That way you can find out more about you and how your process works. When it comes to boundaries, think about boundaries as non-negotiables. Things where you're just like, this goes against who I am as an individual. This goes against my values, all this other extra stuff. And if somebody impinges on that, it may bring up triggers for you. And if somebody is trying to find leeways or trying to poke the bear and trying to figure out ways in which, even if you have expressed your boundaries and they're like, okay, well, you've expressed this, so I'm gonna decide to go around the corner and then I'm gonna try to do this to try to get, to try to get past your boundaries, right? So if they try to do that, it is up to you to, number one, be aware of it, that it's happening. And number two, to advocate for yourself. You either need to cut communication off with them completely, or you need to limit communication with that person. And you need to let them know, like, at the end of the day, this is where I'm at. I'm firm in how I feel. And it is up for you to decide on what you want to do. But I'm letting you know, whatever you decide, this is going to be the consequences for it, or this is how we can move forward. People will be very quick to try to tell you what your boundaries should be instead of respecting what your boundaries are to begin with. Okay? It is so important for you to, number one, know what your boundaries are and then effectively communicate them. And if people do not understand what they are, or they choose to keep poking the bear at them, it is up to you to decide, do I need to remove this person, or do I need to figure out a new way to communicate this? Another way that you can set boundaries as an artist is to get everything in writing. Okay? Do you know how many times you hear about artists where they sign these contracts, but they never read these contracts, right? Get everything in writing. The he say, she say don't mean nothing until it is typed in words, okay? Where you can go back. You know, when your teacher was like, underline the main idea, that. Underline, where's the evidence that that's the main idea? That right there. So make sure you get everything in writing, whether it's in a contract, whether it's in a conversation through text message or email, or whether this is in somebody filling out a commissions form on your website, or maybe them just asking you a simple question. Get it in writing, have all your evidence and receipts ready to go. Okay, that way you can protect yourself, but you can also have a full-fledged of information and communication. That way nothing gets misconstrued. Our next takeaway is one of my favorites, and it is basically, know you are worthy of your boundaries being respected. Okay, know you are worthy of somebody coming in and just completely just allowing you to flow the way that you need to. You are worthy of receiving that form and that level of communication and that level of experience with your clients, with a gallery, or with a curator. It doesn't matter. All right. You just have to, get into your brain and be like, I am worthy to receive the absolute best when it comes to client, when it comes to my interaction on social media, whether you are worthy of it, no matter what. Okay? You owe it to yourself to be genuinely who you are, and you owe it to yourself to just be free and express who it is that you are. And if somebody cannot respect this, if somebody is trying to sway you into being something else or creating in a different way that is not in alignment with you, that is how you know that you can leave. But also too, that is how you know that you're doing the right thing. So do not allow people to project their manipulative and abusive practices on you. So this basically means people that continue to poke the bear, where they're infiltrating on your boundaries and they're infiltrating on your space. And especially when you've told them no the first time, you don't need to tell them no a second time. No means no, and that's it. All right. These are not things that you can just run away from when it comes to being an artist or just in life in general. They're going to come up. I just want to make sure that you guys have the tools and the tips where when you run into things like this, you could just be prepared. And I feel like this is the best way that I have prepared myself when it comes to communicating with people in general in my personal life, and it comes to communicating with people when it comes to work and art and commissions. So yeah, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and just do your little thing. It's like right there. It's like a red button. You can't miss it, Just go ahead and subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if this video has helped you and has given you some inspiration, or if you have any boundaries that you just want to communicate write them down. Let me know what they are, or let me know how I helped. Also, if you have not joined the Patreon, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon. We are dropping videos over there, monthly videos over there, just to help you be more in tune with yourself as an artist and how you can be great. So if that is something that interests you, go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon, pick your tier, whatever you like, and I'll see you there. But yes, if you have made it to the end of the video, shout out to you. I love you. I appreciate you. And yeah, until the next one, bye.